What is up, everybody? What a day. What a day. What didn't happen today? Welcome in here to our Q Sports Talk commercial-free exclusive presentation of a post-game show for every freaking thing that happened today, brought to you, as always, by our friends at LeBron. Should I, this is, hang on, just a second. Like, we're only on Q Sports Talk right now, so we can do some things. This is not the proper lighting situation for today. We gotta, hang on. That's better. Now we're post-gaming. Oh, yeah. There we are. Now we're doing it. Now that's better. Okay. Now we can start. Whew. I would have lived a night filled with regrets if we hadn't done that. But welcome in, guys. We're rocking out on QSportsTalk.com on the Twitch. We got the chat rocking. We got it rocking on the YouTube as well. We are live. Here's the plan. We're going to hang out for, I don't know, hour-ish. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk about both games. Syracuse won both games. It took double overtime to beat Youngstown State. They won 3-0. Factual. Football looked pretty good. I thought that was one of their more complete efforts of the season today out there against Cal. Final margin only 8, but they had that basically in control pretty much the entirety of the game. A 33-25 win. 7 wins now in the book in year 1 for Fran Brown. Hopefully 8 next week for UConn, and then setting up a very fun matchup with Miami in the last week of the season. So we're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about today. You guys in the chat can guide our conversation. If you want to talk about hoops, if you want to talk about football, if you want to talk about both, I'll follow your lead. Well, we've got Red's post-game press conference from the Dome earlier. We'll play that back here in a little bit. And before we finish our time together today, we will get you some Fran Brown from out on the left coast. Maybe right when he's about to get ready to take a shower, or right after a shower. He gets, winter's wash. Suds it up, Fran. Get ready for that long cross-country flight on the way back. So we'll get you all those things. And the phone lines are open and available. 315-437-7644. You know the number on our DWITom.com post-game hotline at 4ESPN44. Give a ring if you want to talk football, if you want to talk hoops, if you want to talk Cayenne Anthony, going back to yesterday, of which we have discussed, though we've not gotten a chance to hear from you on all of that out there. We can do all of those things over the course of the next hour or so tonight. So we're gonna take it every which way you want, any which way you want. On all these things. Cal was favored at Tim by 10. Syracuse won by 8. We'll take that. The Eddie Lampkin experience is a wild one, Minnesota Dan and others. He was fantastic on offense. He is also on the court when the ball's on defense. And thank goodness JJ, hopped his way into the takeover mode at some point today. Otherwise, that would have been an immediate, significant problem for Syracuse if JJ hadn't dropped 38, by far a career high out there today. First time he's gone past 30. And, concerns about the starting point guard in Jaquan Carlos, who didn't do a lot before he fouled out. The guard rotation is okay. Lucas Taylor fouled out. He was also there. I'm kind of digging the early Chapo Moore experience, man. He makes a lot of freshman mistakes, but he does it with effort and hustle, and he hit that big 3 in whichever of the overtimes it was. We got to see the bullseye, the left elbow bullseye for the first time this season. So I'll be intrigued to see how JJ. I get it. Youngstown State's not a great team, but they did win 3-0. Almost covered the spread there because of the second overtime. So we'll see. Satchel Sack, can somebody tell me what Lucas Taylor provides? I will take the 5th on that. I will take the 5th on that one, Satchel Sack. The Lampkin thing is going to be wild all year long because he's clearly a talent on offense. It would seem like some of those passes are like wild. He tried them, and then wild they worked, but they're impressive. For a whole lot of reasons. And then you look at, so much of the other stuff that happened, like at the defensive end. He doesn't even, approach trying to do anything at the defensive end. there's a lot going on with this team. I have no idea what to make about the team, and then they'll get Texas coming up on this Thursday down at Barclays Center at 7:00. Yeah, Lampkin got shockingly close to a triple-double today. What he ended up with? Lampkin had 20 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, led the team in assists. Starling, 38 points. And we saw, especially thought the second half, we saw a little more energy, a little more enthusiasm from Donnie Freeman. And, when you're that big and that athletic, stuff's going to happen. He ends up with his second double-double here in 3 games. He goes 19 points and 12 rebounds, made the 1-3, but I like just seeing the work he did near the basket. So that was good. That was good. The guard rotation, I don't know. How many minutes did Chapa play today? Elijah played 16 minutes, had 5 points, the big 3. Lucas Taylor played 19 minutes today. Huh. Jaquan Carlos, 30 minutes today. That's going to have to get sorted out in some way. Starling played 49 of the 50 minutes today, so stayed out of foul trouble today. I think what we're going to see, and this is what happened last year, right, too? JJ led the team in minutes last year. JJ is going to have to lead the team in minutes this year. It's going to become, as imperfect as he is in some ways, still clearly has a shooting hitch, which seems to have moved from his three-point shot to his free throws, of which he went 8 and did go 8 of 12 at the line today, but, got there time and time again. I think JJ is going to have to be on the court way, way, way more often than not as the season goes along. All right, so phone lines are open, 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44 as we head through our post-game coverage today, brought to you by our friends at Burdick Ford, Burdick Toyota, Burdick Lexus, and Burdick BMW. Again, we'll hear from Red here coming up. We'll hear from Fran hopefully later in the hour. We'll take you through the football game. We'll take you through the basketball game. We'll try to get you set up for next week in both cases. UConn a week from today in football. Thank goodness UConn's not next for basketball. Woo! Texas, who's pretty good. They're not UConn guy is next for basketball. So we'll get all of those things out there here today. All right, let's just drop this now. Let's go on with this now. We'll see if anybody wants to call in after this. Let's just get into the Red Pressers. Order of operations. Basketball was before football today. We always show you the Red Presser after home games live. Obviously, that was probably early second quarter of the football game today and that crazy overlap that happened. But here is what Red Autry had to say after today's game.
Oh, man, what a game. Our Youngstown's team came in here, veteran team. They gave us all they had. Again, I've watched them play a couple of times before this. I know they were in the game up until halftime with some other guys. But, again, we knew it was going to be a tough game. But, again, I just got to give a lot of credit to our guys for hanging in there, double overtime. They never lost composure. I mean, J.J. Starling, and that's the J.J. Starling that we know, and again, he's the guy for us. He's important for us, and he was big time. What a game for him, and he played 50 minutes, man, and he just kept battling. So I was very proud and excited for him to be able to be a part of this, and again, lean on him. That's why he's here. He's a guy that we lean on and we need him. I thought Eddie was phenomenal as well. Battled. Again, we could have easily folded in this game, and we didn't. Both times. I think the composure of this team, as you all could tell, in these first 3 games is, they're pretty unshakable, man. Again, do we have to get better in a lot of things? We do, man. But, I'm just going to, again, congratulate my team and try to, get ready for the, what's ahead and to continue to get better. Questions?
You put the ball in JJ's hands in the second half, then with one guard, and I'm curious about why you did that.
JJ had it going. Again, some of the stuff that we were trying to run, that side-to-side stuff, they did a good job of making it hard. And, we wanted to kind of keep the ball in the middle of the court. And again, JJ's tough. He's tough to guard going downhill. He started making us pull up. So, again, we had to make an adjustment there offensively. Again, stop running that stuff and just kind of get the ball in the middle of the court and let JJ go to work. And, when players have that look, it. As a coach, it. So, again, I thought he delivered. I thought he was, huge.
Red, you're 3 games into this basketball season, 3 close games. What's concerning to you with your basketball team?
I think obviously the biggest thing, we would like to be a better defensive team right now and hold teams, to not as many points. I think that's the biggest thing. Offensively, we're still not shooting the ball better. We're not shooting the ball well. But again, I thought today we made a couple adjustments, and it just, when you got good players and when your guys are going, you got to make it simple sometimes. And I thought that's what we did. But obviously the defense is a concern, and we got to get better at it. It's just something that we got to get better at, and we'll keep working.
Is there something with the transition defense that you're working on? Like, is that just a personnel thing, or what is it that's allowing?
I thought today. Let me say something before I speak. 14 points. We would like to have a little bit more, but I thought today was really more the half court, especially late. Actually the whole game. We have trouble. Trying to retreat and then get back in front of people. And we just got to keep working on that. We've worked on that a lot in the last couple of days. Again, we got to continue to work on it. We're work in progress on the defensive end for sure. As a team, we still can play better offensively. So, again.
Coach Eddie. Go ahead.
Thanks. Elijah and Donnie, they played a lot of minutes down the stretch, came up with the clutch 3, the clutch block. What do you have to just kind of say about that performance from two guys that are in their third game of college basketball?
I thought Donnie was phenomenal. Again, is he going to make some mistakes? Yeah, mistakes happen in the game, but I just thought he was, he was big time. He rebounded, he switched. Some of the drives that they scored on late, I thought he did a good job of kind of contesting, and they made some tough shots. But that was big time. He got a big time offensive putback. Donnie is he's as talented as any freshman that we've had here in a while. And again, he's going to continually get better with this team. And I thought, Elijah came in, and he's never scared. I thought he jumped right in. We call him in at the end, and he jumps right in, pops right in, and gets right into it and makes a big free throw at the end. And defensively, he's gotten a little bit better as well. So again, getting better. But I was proud of those two guys. Our freshmen, they are not scared at all. And they come in and they bring it. So I'm looking forward for them to continue to progress that way.
Coach, Eddie's 7 assists tonight. How does having a passing big man like him kind of open up the offense, and what did you see from him in that department?
Well, it's a big reason why we're still scoring right now because of Eddie. Getting some offensive glass, and when they double, getting 1 or 2 dump offs. So he's generating some easy points. Even he's a big guy. Even on those handoffs, allow JJ to kind of get downhill, or even if it's Chris. So again, he's generating a lot of offense for us when our offense is not playing well right now. He's the reason why we're still scoring 80 and 100 points and stuff like that.
What is your reaction when you see those behind-the-back passes from a big man like that?
As long as he completes it, I'm okay. Again, Eddie, when we brought him in, we knew what we were getting with Eddie. I thought even today defensively, his ball screen coverage was a lot better than the last time. We had to switch that up from the first half to the second half. Again, they were doing a good job of, re-attacking our guys. So we changed that, and he adjusted really well. He did a good job.
Coach, after
what parts of the game tonight, whether there's positives or improvements that you want to carry with you to Brooklyn as you get ready for the Legends Classic?
I would talk about our team's resilience, because we're going to go down there and play against some tough teams. And, the game, the one thing that we've shown is if we get down, we still kind of stay at it. But we just got to improve. We got a lot more to improve on before we head down and play again in Texas again. So just continuing to improve on both ends of the ball. Offensively, we got to get a little bit going. And then defensively, I think right now is the most glaring thing that we want to continue to concentrate on and get better at. Because I think that will help us. Obviously, it'll help us. I think it'll help. It'll jumpstart our offense. We're not getting transition points right now. We got 16 points this game, but we think we can get out and transition more. But that starts with our defense. We're rebounding the ball, but we're just not defending the ball as good as we like to right now, especially early on.
I think we thought in the beginning of the season maybe you'd be a 3-point shooting team, and now it seems like you're much better inside. And we sort of tried to adjust a little bit about maybe trying to bang it in there a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Again, Donnie is good down there. Jair is good down there. We knew coming into the season, if you had to compare, last year's team to this year's team, I thought last year's team, obviously, we were very perimeter-oriented. And when we went to the portal, we wanted to have that balance. And again, so our front court, we knew was probably going to be a strength of ours this year, from passing, from rebounding, for scoring around the basket. So we got that now. We just got to, get our perimeter guys going and making some shots. But again, it all starts on the defense and then being able to push out and run. We like to get, out in transition and get some, some drives and try to get some easy three-point shots. Everything now is, off of half court, and they're just tough, tough shots.
At the end of the second half, JJ drove in with 8 seconds left. Was the plan kind of just to attack the basket, or was that spur of the moment?
Which end of the game? Which
End of the second half with 8 seconds left, you went in and said for that final shot.
We had the ball, and JJ went in and scored. Yeah, you got to put pressure on the rim at that time. And again, JJ had it going. Again, he got a head full of steam. He's tough to guard even without a head full of steam. So again, I thought he did a really good job of, rejecting and getting into the paint in those last 2 ones. I wish the last one, the second overtime, I wish he would have kind of tried to go to the basket on that last one. But players, they make their decisions sometimes. We don't have control over that.
Donnie struggled a little bit down low on the defensive end, trying to kind of guard a little bit of physicality. For a guy who's trying to make the NBA next year, how do you feel like the physicality can progress in a year to get to the point where,
Just got to keep working every day. He has to keep working every day. And again, he's improved, from where he was at 2 weeks ago. So again, it's a work in progress, but he's so talented. This game came down to heart. Like heart and effort. Everything else kind of was like we got to go, and he had that look, and I thought he did a better job late in the second half than he did in the first half. Again, he has a lot of moxie, a lot of confidence again, and he'll keep getting better, keep working, keep getting stronger, and it's experience. That's the only way he's going to get better, through experience, and we need him to play. We need him to help this team be as good as we think we can be.
Coach, 1 for 13 from 3 in the first half and 3 for 6 in the second half. Was that a halftime adjustment, or is that something you want to see going forward, dialing back the sample size?
I thought it was an adjustment. We want to get a balance. We want to get a balance of our threes and attacking the basket. But, coming into halftime, again, we knew we had to put pressure on the rim. We wasn't making our shots. So, coming out, we just tried to, by either getting it inside or driving to the basket. The first 6 or 7 possessions, we wanted to go inside and just really test them.
Coach, if I can step away from the team a little bit of this year, it's been National Signing Week, and the big news yesterday, obviously, with Melo's son coming here. Can you talk on the depth of the signing class and how a signing like that kind of rejuvenates this fan base a little bit with the legend and his son being able to come here?
When you talk about a recruiting class, I have to give so much credit to our staff. They did a tremendous job of putting, this class together. So I give a lot of credit, and it's exciting. That's the lifeline of every program, is to be able to, get recruits and high-level recruits, and that's how we want to get back up to being consistently one of the better teams in the country. Again, and I thought this year with our transfer portal class we had to rely on that more. But even from last year, having Donnie and Chopper, so that's what it takes. You got to keep getting those guys, but just tremendous effort, and I can't thank my staff enough for the work that they've done and getting this thing going and being able to haul in a class like we just did.
locker room's open.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there's Red after the game. Mario getting a little cayenne question in there at the end. Phone lines open, 315-437-7644. We'll be hanging out here for the next, 45 minutes or so. Chat with you guys in the chat. We got the Q Sports Talk chat up on the Twitch. We got the Q Sports Talk chat up on the YouTube. Eyes on both. Looks right now most of the chat conversation seems to be about the basketball right now due to I don't even know what's going on. 3 just nuts games. They are 3-0. How are we feeling, people? Are we feeling better after this game than either of the first 2 games? That's what I wonder. I do wonder here. Now, you certainly don't really want to go double overtime against Youngstown State because you got to play like Duke later and North Carolina and the ACC. So you probably don't want to be a team that's double overtime against Youngstown State caliber. But I do wonder if they found some semblance, and I tweeted it again in the first half. Watching the first half, like, what was the identity of the team? No clue. Watch the first 2 games. What was the identity of the team? No clue. At least in the second half in overtime. JJ attacking the rim. Lampkin being involved in orchestrating the offense, Donnie Freeman being involved near the rim. There was at least some identity to the last 30 minutes of the basketball game that had been sorely lacking, regardless of what you think about the opponents in the first two games and first half of the season. Now, Texas is coming up next. What is Texas? Who the heck knows? They're a fringe top 25 team right now, which is obviously several steps up in competition. They're just destroyed Mississippi Valley State today. Mississippi Valley State's one of the worst teams in the country, so for whatever that means, they beat them 89-43. That game will be coming up Thursday at 7 o'clock down at the Barclays Center. So there is that. And as mentioned, the phone lines are open, 315-437-7644. We have that technology, and we shall use it here as part of our post-game show. Let's bring in our guy, Steve from North Syracuse, to talk about all that happened here today. Hey, Steve.
As a 15-year-old in 1968, I listened to Syracuse's previous trip to Berkeley and wound up whimpering throughout the whole thing. So it meant a lot to me and to some of our older fans to see Syracuse go to Berkeley and frankly dominate the game and take care of what we thought was a pretty good California team, although they didn't look very good much of the game. But maybe we can credit ourselves, our team, for doing that. I thought it was great that they put pressure on the quarterback more than we have been doing. I thought the offensive line held up very well, and we were just in control. It's just unfortunate that after a 27-7 first half, we had a 6-17 second half, and I was glad at the end that they don't have free throws in football, because we keep sweating at the end of basketball games because we keep missing our free throws. On the basketball game, firstly, I want to quote Eric Devendorf on J.J. Starling. He said his confidence is exuding. I thought that was a very interesting choice of words. Starling last year was kind of Robin to Judah Mintz's Batman, and this year he has to be the guy. And he was the guy today, and I think that this performance could lead to a lot of other what they call alpha performances for him. So I was excited to see him break out. I thought Lampkin had an amazing game, especially since he played 40 minutes, because there were rumors he's got a back problem. We know he has a big body to chug up and down the court. I noticed one time he was taken out of the game, and he didn't sit down. He went around behind the SU bench and stood to watch the game, and I wondered if that might have had something to do with his back. But he had like 20 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists, and we haven't had a center that could do anything like that in memory, frankly. And then Freeman is a wonderful third option for the team. However, the rest of the roster provided very little in this game and allowed Youngstown, who had just lost by 34 points to Ohio State, to stay in the game. And it's great that we have proven we can win close games, but we're going to have to up our level of play and be much more consistent about it in order to compete with the teams that are upcoming.
That is for sure, Steve. And Red, we heard Red on the radio broadcast earlier. He was very succinct about that in his first few seconds off the court when Paulie was back there getting that interview, and he had calmed, I'd say, a little bit there by the press conference we just played for you. But to your point, Steve, thank goodness there were no free throws in the football game, because I could not do that a second time today. Once was good on the free throws today. That was enough for me.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. Thank you as always for the phone call. There's our guy Steve in North Syracuse. If you'd like to follow up Steve here, phone line's available at 315-437-7644. You know the number, for ESPN 44 on our DWITom.com post-game hotline. And, looking at the chats here on the Twitch and the YouTube. Dan, And yes, Pastor Tim, no more CW, at least for football season. There's a bunch of basketball games in the CW, but probably no more CW for football. There's no way Miami, Syracuse will be on the CW because, I'm just, I'm all done with Tom and the ace umpire cam. I can't anymore. But Dan, to your point, like JJ at the 1, Carlos, I don't know. Maybe Carlos will turn into a defensive passer guy that was what was sold. I don't know. I'm just not seeing it yet. To Steve's point, and I've said it from the start of the year that JJ, I think, needs to be the alpha attacker, ball in the hand guy on this team. If Carlos was going to be whatever it was, JJ could have accomplished that as the 2. I think as the year keeps going and going and going, and especially as Chapa Moore continues to, hopefully, get involved. He's playing with a lot of effort, a lot of enthusiasm, but he's still doing some freshman-y stuff. He's very young. Like I think that is going to be the backcourt that maybe makes the most sense for a majority of the minutes as the year goes along, with Starling playing kind of the lead guard spot. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. CW is better than the ACC Network. CW is home to the sicko games. Oh, man. Yeah, Brenneman's done a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of stuff the last 3 weeks. It's been a wild
Coach Brown just outside the locker room, and Coach, this is an interesting locker room setup, by the way, and all of that can be forgiven when you win on the road. It's pretty darn cool, and the guys are living it up as they should. Congrats.
Yeah, they did a great job. I'm really proud of them. Really thankful I had a chance to come out here and compete against Caldo, such a prestigious university program. Really a fine head coach and a fine coaching staff. And like I told you all week, this game would come to the fourth quarter, and that's just how it was.
It sure did, even though you built an early lead. 2 early picks. How significant was it Marlo Wax got the first one and then freshman Davian Kerr the second?
I was really big, especially for Marlo Wax, because he's our leader. And to have a leader go out and do it, but then that true freshman, I've been telling them all week, this guy different. I don't believe in him. Like, I'm playing him, I'm starting him, I don't care. And for him to go in and just take over, did a good job. Hey, Deuce, good job, yo. Just for him to go do a good job and be able to play it, and had guys like Deuce Chestnut talking to him the whole game, telling him where he at, what to do, and we just had the faith that he was super athletic. So we knew when they tried to throw the fade on him that he could jump. This kid could do a backflip just standing there.
Sure, and that's all part of the development over the course of the season. You came in with Marcellus Barnes down, Jaden Bellamy down, safeties down. So you have to reinvent that. You got to kind of find people later in the year.
Yeah, I've just been able to develop them the whole year, and I've been working with them the last few weeks. And like since I coached the corners, and I've been really locked in on the corners. Me and Coach Stewart just locked in with them more. I've been meeting with them more, just doing things with them more, just because I knew I was going to play several freshmen. You see, BJ Long got in that corner, and he played a little bit too, and he's really a safety, but just moved him over, because, I just trust that, my ability to be able to coach. I've had some great guys teaching me the game at doing that, and Muschamp and Kirby Smart, Phil Snow, so those guys showed me how to coach the secondary, so I'm confident that I could get a freshman to be ready to play.
I know Cal giving up a lot of sacks this year, but they don't give them to you. What was the key to kind of getting the pass rush today?
Just effort, strain, for each other. Wanted to make a difference. You can make a difference in your life today for the rest of your life by just going out and doing something. A little bit more strain.
How exciting. You leaned on your key players, 1 and 2 and 19. They're all over 100 yards individually today. How important is it to know how reliable they are?
Scott McCoy having the confidence in all of them. And Jeff Nixon, man, he's a real good friend, man. He's a good dude, man, and he just does what's needed to do for us to keep pushing forward. And I'm really happy for our defense, man, because their offense wasn't allowed to do a lot. And I know there's been a lot of stuff people saying in reference to Coach E and his staff, but I thought they did an amazing job today, being able to completely stop the run again, and they weren't able to pass until the end. So I'm very thankful for Coach Robinson and Coach Nixon. They did a great job today.
Well, time of possession winds up, I think it's over 36 minutes or something like that. Ridiculous. So still among the national leaders there, impressive showing. And I'm sure everyone wants to know, Coach, what's the deal? We're going to get the shower running back there?
Right now what I got planned is $100 grand, a little dirt, smelling good with this bond number 9, 100 racks all the time. Now I'm ready to go go play. I'm going to have some fun, though. Winners get washed.
You're going for both not only a record contract, but also the sponsorship with the soul.
No, I can't rap. I just rap all Lil Durk and 50 Cent. Anything they do, I kind of rap this stuff. Yeah.
All right, well, let's get the hots on the left, the colds on the right. Go back in there, do what you need to do. It's a long trip home.
Hey, get out of here, Matt. Be safe.
That's Fran Brown, guys. Back upstairs to you.
Oh, man. Okay. Yeah, all right. So Fran off to the showers. There's Matt Park with Fran Brown, as just heard over on TK99, part of the Syracuse Sports Network broadcast today, emanating from California. Okay, Fran Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Fran Brown. He's dropping lyrics. He's got soap. He's slinging "Winners Get Washed" T-shirts. This guy's playing like 9D chess in his first year as head coach. He's got a lot going on. Oh, man. The Fran Brown experience has been absolutely something this year, has it not? That was Fran Brown, by the way, brought to you by our friends at William Attard, a car called William Attard, 444-4444. Reds presser earlier, brought to you by our friends at RomanoCars.com. Yes, Pastor Tim, breaking news. Syracuse has a kicker. El Presidente, Jackson Roberts. Yes. We like it. That was not one, not two, not three, but four. Count them, 4 Syracuse field goals today. 4 made field goals. 2 of them, the distance started with a 4. How about that? How about being able to make a field goal? Man, what are the numbers of totals? Hang on, let me look this up here. Total field goals this year. Where are we at? Where are we at? So coming into today, the team as a collective was, let's see, the team as a collective was 7 of 14, so 50%. Made half their field goals as a collective coming into today. Kennedy boots 4 of 4. Jackson Kennedy is 6 of 6 of the year. The combination of Brady Denenberg and Jaden O was 5 of 11. So yeah, I'd say they've found the right answer there. Unfortunately, I think this is Kennedy's only year of eligibility. He was a Cornell transfer. So this is his only year. Oh, wait, redshirt junior? Hey now. 2 years. Yes, the kicker for next year too. What did he do? He had a COVID year and a redshirt year. Yes, Jackson Kennedy's got another year. Kicker for next year. Sweet. Good job, Fred. Good job. Took him a minute to figure out the right guy, but they got it figured. Jackson Kennedy. The answer to the question. And thank goodness. Special teams, which was, my goodness, such a grease fire for the first half of the season for 8.5 million reasons. Nothing's really gone wrong on special teams here in the last few weeks. And I don't count the penalty on the onside kick last week as something gone wrong. Obviously, you would have preferred different, but you know what I mean. And now you can make a field goal. So things are starting to go right. Did Louisville win? Did they make the field goal? What's going on with that? Did SMU hang on? It is final. SMU tacked on a late touchdown. Boston College was giving SMU all they can handle. SMU wins that by 10 down in Dallas. They remain undefeated in the league. Oh, Stanford beat Louisville? Oh, wow. It's a bad loss for Louisville. Yeah, everybody. Clemson, there was some apparently a nefarious officiating late on in the Clemson-Pitt game that allowed Clemson to beat Pittsburgh earlier today. Miami's off. Notre Dame just hammered Virginia. Wake, North Carolina, ACC Network primetime tonight. No, thank you. We'll take a hard pass on that one. That's the league today. Stanford won on the last second 52-yard field goal. How about that? All right. Stanford had not won since the game in the Dome. Go figure. 2 of their 3 wins this year are the Eastern time zone. Oh, man. The new ACC is wild. All right, phone lines are open if you'd like to join in here on our post-game. Today we're hanging out on Q Sports Talk. We're vibing with our Labatt sign on our commercial-free coverage, exclusively brought to you by our friends at Labatt Blue. Signage involved. Labatt USA, of course. 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. You want to talk football? You want to talk hoops? Well, I just see on the TV, Florida just beat LSU. Okay, that's a weird result down in SEC land. Yeah, where do we want to go, Chet? We want to do a little football here. We want to do a little hoops. Where do we want to just mix and match here as we go on throughout our time together here today? What should we do? What should we do here? Have the old Big East officials been reborn in the ACC, Tim? You don't mess with ACC refs. They're always something. They are always something. Yeah, the Cal game, that was sparsely attended, Jing's dad, except for those the diehards up on that hill they showed that one time with the one guy that looked like he was just passed out asleep in the chair. A bunch of dudes with binoculars, the whole thing. Yeah, I mean ACC refs, Danny Angelo. ACC refs. Ain't that the fun of it all? They're not great. They're not great. They haven't been great. And they're going to continue not to be great going forward. So at least we're aware of that. I don't know who's gonna ref the game next week. I guess because in theory, like the road team road team conference supplies refs for road games. UConn doesn't have a conference, so I'm not entirely certain how that'll work out for next week. Something to keep an eye on. All right, phone calls starting to come in here at 315-437-7644 on our DWITom.com postgame hotline. Let's bring in our guy Vito in Liverpool. Hey, Vito, what's going on?
Yeah, so I'm happy we won in basketball. You try to get through these games in the beginning and improve and learn from them. Everybody knows that they're beating basically cream puff teams by single digits, which is not good. So my thing is with Starling, we've been waiting for this kind of performance for the first three games. He finally gave it, but the problem is the way I analyze these things is is that the regular play of Starling? No, he had to step it up in order to beat this team, and that's what worries me is can he be consistent and not play all the way up to that level where he's hitting almost every shot? But close to that, that's what this team is missing is a superstar. Everybody thought it was going to be Freeman, probably Starling first. But if he's got to play like that to beat Youngstown State, that's not good. And I'm hoping he can play up to that, close to that level, and he's going to need to apparently for the foreseeable future for this season to be successful. And the other thing is, Lampkin is very slow to backpedal. If his guy brings him out, a lot of times he's going to get around him. He needs to be near the hoop on defense at all times because he's not quick enough to backpedal. He's great with moves, though, to the rim. He looked good today. But it's really just going to be we need to see them face the first good team and see what happens. So, I have no idea. They could come out and play awesome. Who knows? But these first three games are not a good sign. The other thing I want to talk about was football with McCord. He's been in the thick of the losses. When you go back and look at the losses, except for the BC game where the O-line couldn't protect him, his interceptions were directly, the cause of the losses. I don't put much of it on Fran Brown at all. I think that he's creating a blueprint for the program. It's looking good, but the season hinged on McCord, and that Pitt game obviously lost right away because of McCord. And I'm not trying to badmouth him. I'm just making a point that this season hinged on Kyle McCord, and Fran Brown has done a great job with the program. So I'm excited about it going forward. We just need to see what kind of quarterback is going to be here next year. It's all going to depend on that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously setting the Pitt game aside, I think McCord's had an excellent season. He's going to have every Syracuse single-season passing record that exists here. But to your point, Mike McAllister and I were talking about this hours ago on pregame, Vito. And our thought now is that none of us think that next year, like whomever is going to start the Tennessee game to open next season, we think we don't know the name of that person yet. So that's going to be be a wildly important thing this upcoming December.
You got to wonder with the portal. Everything is up in the air with the portal, so you got to wonder. I mean, I think his name's Carney out of Texas, 4-star.
Yeah. I mean, Luke Carney, from all accounts, like a really good recruit. But yeah, are you tossing out a true freshman to start a game like that in the opener? I'd say. I doubt it unless he's truly that special. But yeah, I would be shocked if they are not heavily shopping in the portal for a starting quarterback for next year.
And that was going to be my next quick point is with the portal, just all of that's up in the air where you have an understudied freshman behind a guy for 2 years and he's starting his junior year. That's just not happening. So he's probably going to, like you said, he's going to target the portal.
Yep.
And then maybe Carney can pick up a year experience watching a pro, possible NFL future quarterback. And that's probably what it's going to be. These guys like Carney are going to be 3-year, maybe 2 to 4 year quarterbacks. That's, start their junior year. So I'm excited though, man. I am. We're 7-3 and we got Miami. What's the game before Miami? We got one more before that. Right?
UConn next week at noon. UConn is, it's a game Syracuse should win, though I think UConn is less. UConn has won 7 games against basically nobody's, but they're less terrible than I thought. But it's a game that Syracuse should be the better team in.
Yeah, so it'll be nice if they get to 9-3. It'll be a successful season. We all came in hoping for possible college football playoff, but it's not in the cards this year. We'll see.
Yeah. Chance here to win out, though, and still get a 9-win season out there, which would be very, very impressive for a lot of reasons. Yep. All right, Vito. Thanks as always. There's our guy, Vito, calling in from Liverpool. And, somebody mentions Jakari Williams in the chat. Yeah, Jakari, if there is a quarterback on the roster that is going to start next year's opener, it would be Jakari Williams. We've never seen him play, but, redshirting this whole year. Obviously, they liked him as a recruit last year for sure. People like Luke Carney. But, again, quarterbacks in the transfer portal, man, it is an industry unto itself. Obviously, McCord has worked out, I'd say, about as well as anyone here could have hoped from last year. Yeah, the Pitt game didn't go well, but look at a lot of the other portal quarterbacks in the country. Very few guys, especially that are in a one-year starting situation. Very, very few portal quarterbacks in the country having greater success than McCord is this year. You can look at Cam Ward down in Miami. I don't know statistically so. Obviously, Notre Dame, Riley Leonard at Notre Dame only has one loss. There are very, very few, especially 1 year starting portal quarterbacks like McCord and Ward are that have had anywhere near the success of Kyle McCord this year. I shudder to think if McCord had not been here this year. Phone line's open, 315-437-7644 if you'd like to join in. And I will say this, Mike and I, McAllister, were talking about this pregame. And we heard Fran there talking about it postgame with Matt Park. The guys that are playing in the secondary now, we see, Murad Watson, Rashard Perry are handling almost every snap at defensive tackle now, the 2 true freshmen. There have been maybe not quite as many as the last few years, and certainly not on the offensive line. This team has still been plenty injured. We look at the last few years of Dino as just a stack upon stack upon stack of injuries. Honestly, the main difference when we look at injuries the last few years, the main difference, Garrett Trader was hurt. Kyle McCord is not. Healthy Garrett Trader had a really good record. Unfortunately, Garrett Trader's play style, almost directly led to him being hurt for the back half of the season. Kyle McCord has been, as healthy as one can be. He's not clean, but, he's in good shape, and he's been outstanding. Outstanding. In fact, 11 o'clock this upcoming Tuesday. Kyle McCord Show. Where? Right here. With who? Me, Kyle, and all of you. And you can get in the chat at SKyle, whatever you'd like. 11 a.m. Tuesday, the Kyle McCord Show. We only got 2 of them left on the schedule. We haven't thought ahead to any postseason stuff yet. We gotta check on stuff like that. But next Tuesday and the Tuesday after, and our fun with Kyle. Man, you wish they were talking in the broadcast about could he have another year of eligibility on that stuff. The dude's going to be in the NFL next year. You wish he'd be here because I think all this conversation, I'd feel a lot better if we spent all offseason knowing Kyle McCord was starting that Tennessee game next year. But as far as DeVito's point, this year setting the foundation for the Fran Brown era, obviously Fran has been significantly important in that. Number 2 on that list is Kyle. Is who have been the most important guys in that right now. All right, phone lines open at 315-437-7644 for ESPN 44. Who is this? This call looks ready. We're gonna hit the button and see what happens. It's blinking in a way that's ready, but there's no name. Who do we got? It is Sam in Pittsburgh. Hey, Sam, what's going on?
Brian, great job as always, my friend. We talked after the UNLV game. Mm-hmm. Proud Syracuse alum in Pittsburgh. We represented well down here. We know things didn't go the way we wanted, but we couldn't be happier. Again, my son's a freshman up there in the marching band, and we're having a ball. Can't wait to go to a big bowl. The team is rolling.
Awesome. Yes, unfortunately, the game that was closest to your house did not go very well at all, but we'll take where they're at right now.
Not to worry. We soldier on, and after all these years of struggling through November, we are 2-1 in November so far by my calculations. I think we're rocking, buddy.
Yeah, well, we'll take it, right? All these years where it's like maybe they get one after it's already too late for it to matter. Yeah, 2-1. Hopefully get to 3-1, and then set up a big game with Miami, right? Like that's the hope here down the stretch, is that Miami game, even if it's not for Syracuse to be in the ACC title game, it will be for Miami to be in the ACC title game. Like that game's going to have a ton of meaning on it coming up in a couple of weeks.
Exactly. I'm so proud to have the distinction of holding the Drum Majors ladder at the 50-yard line. I'll see you this weekend, and I'll see you at that game on the 50, my friend.
All right, there we go. Sam in Pittsburgh. He's ready to go. He's a marching band. Yeah, people forget this. Like, talk about warm weather bowl games and all. Like marching band parents, they want to go too. Yeah, they want to go to nice places. Also, T. Murphy, we should know the Miami time Monday. Yes, I say yes with heavy trepidation. Yes, but the last week of the season very often falls into that 6-day hold thing because they're trying to, really sort out what games are going to matter in the last week. So possibly Monday. I wouldn't be shocked if we have to wait till the weekend, which, considering it is Thanksgiving Saturday when that game is highly annoying. But yes, noon Monday we will know if we know, and then we may have to wait, T. Murphy. But we'll know something coming up noon on Monday. We're going to hear a little bit from Kyle McCord here coming up in a few minutes. Jordan is hard at work at getting us McCord. Jordan did not wear the onesie, Tim. He was at the Dome prior to this for the basketball game, so that would have been a little awkward. It's like not bedtime yet. Can't go onesie midday. That's ridiculous. Late night, though. I know it's dark out. Midday onesie, that we'd have questions about Jordan. Late night onesie, like he did for the... was that the UNLV game? Must have been. There we go. All right, phone line's open if you'd like to chime in, 315-437-7644. We'll hang out for about 15 more minutes or so. We'll get you a little Kyle McCord. We will take some more calls if you like. We'll look ahead to, the sun does set at lunchtime, Tim. We'll look ahead. What's going on in the YouTube chat? Don't want to ignore the YouTube chat. Kyle Wilson. The CW broadcasts are, yes, they're on television. They are on television. What's it? If you can't say something nice, don't say. They officially got them all on television. So there is that. I want to get back to Vito's point about JJ. The second half tonight, it's twofold. It's both, thank goodness JJ did that, and hopefully he knows that he needs to be that guy for this team to succeed. But oh God, he had to do that to beat Youngstown State. So it's a twofold. It's a twofold thought there. But I think for this team, this basketball team, to be at their best, you need JJ to be, if not the point guard, we'll call him the lead guard. He's got to be the attack guard. He's got to be the one that goes downhill to the rim because he's the one guy on the roster that can do it. He's the one guy on the roster that can do it. So hopefully we'll get that going forward. And then you can see it filling around him. You get the passing of Lampkin. You get just the sheer size and athleticism of Freeman. And then, you can get Bell threes off that. You can get a Chapelmore three off that. You can get stuff. All right, we got Kyle McCord right now. Let's listen in. Here's post game with Kyle.
Stairs in Berkeley, just outside the locker room with Matt Park.
All right, man, another big game for Kyle McCord. And what'd you see? I mean, you're able to kind of spread it around on all these key guys. Not only you do your part, but Jackson got 2 touchdowns. Gaston, Pena, Allen, all 100 yards up.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a really good job. It was a lot of short throws early on, kind of getting in the rhythm. And then when the defense came up, we hit our shots down the field and we did it at an efficient rate. And I thought that was a big reason why we were able to get off to that fast start and put points up on the board right away. But it was a complete team effort, especially at receiver.
Yeah, right. He looks around to different guys. I always wonder, kind of Trevor, how many hard hits did he take today? I think he had 11 catches. You hand it to him a couple times as well. This was really a game where he showed out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just the type of player he is, and I think he doesn't always get credit for how tough he is. I think one play that really defines who he he is as a player is the third down. I think it was 3rd and 3 in the fourth quarter, kind of late there. Man coverage, got open, caught the ball short of the sticks, bounced off a hit, and then kind of fell forward for a first down. I mean, that's huge to keep that drive going. I don't think he gets enough credit for those type of plays.
Quarterback's pretty good too, though, right?
I'm all right. I think that just a complete team effort. I thought we ran the ball incredible today, which was huge, and it didn't allow the defense to kind of tee off on us. That was the biggest thing for me.
With some mixing and matching in the front, right?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, kind of plug and played a little bit, and we knew that going in the game, a lot of the guys up front were gonna get time, but they answered the bell. It was a tough week for them. Coach was on them, challenging them, and he basically just said if the O-line plays well, we'll win the game. I think that's what happened tonight.
All right, get some sleep on the flight home, 2 at home here to wrap the regular season, okay?
Yep, thank you.
That's Kyle McCord. Another great job for him, 323 yards through the air. Guys, back to you.
All right, Matt Park. Moments ago on TK99, part of the Syracuse Sports Network broadcast with QB Kyle McCord has now set the Syracuse single-season completions record. Where's Kyle at? Let's I had the stats up here. Where'd I put him? Let's go back to the stat. Loading. Where's McCord at for the season? McCord for the season now is up to 3,476 yards. That's what's Nassib's record? It was like 3,600 yards, I think. So that's going down next week. Completions, he's got 304 for the season. He's up to 24 touchdowns. Nassib's record is 27, I want to say. So that's got a shot of going down next week. They're all going down. McCord's still averaging 347 passing yards a game, which I believe is still leading the ACC. Has been jockeying back and forth with Cam Ward on that, but just fantastic numbers. Yeah, he's got 12 interceptions. The touchdown passes have slowed a bit here as LaQuinn Allen's picked it up on the ground here the last couple games, but realistically, you got 2 games left in the regular season. If you keep up your averages or anything resembling your averages, you're going to have a 4,000-yard passing season for the first time in school history and a shot at a 30-touchdown season for the first time in school history. And then we'll see if and when he does play in a bowl game, because you go back to Nassib's single-season record. That was a 13-game season that includes all his stats from the Pinstripe Bowl, of which he had many that year. So we'll see what McCord does. He has not, I don't think, made any decision on bowl game participation yet. I have no idea. We were talking about that the other day in the chat. I can argue it. I can argue McCord playing at a bowl game or McCord opting out to get ready for the draft very easily, either side of the coin. It's really easy to argue both of those things. Yes, Vito. I'd say it's the JJ thing's interesting because, man, I'd say, yeah, you did not want him to have to do that to beat Youngstown State. Was that close to his max ability shown against Youngstown State? Maybe. The other side of the coin is J.J. Starling's a freaking McDonald's All-American. J.J. Starling should be able to do like stuff like that with more regularity. The hope for Syracuse basketball, and who knows, the hope for Syracuse basketball is that J.J. takes the attack mentality from today and brings it to the rest of the season, because his talent is up there with enough people that it would be good. Kyle McCord not playing in the bowl game would be devastating. Devastating's a bit much, Orange Bride. I'd say, because bowl games just matter less now. Bowl games matter less. Now, like Dungy, like going back to 2018, opt-outs had just started kind of becoming a thing. You remember West Virginia's quarterback, whose name I'm currently blanking on, opted out of that game. What was his name? What was West Virginia's quarterback? It doesn't really matter. He opted out of that game. Dana Holgerson coached the game. He had already opted out of that game. Will Greer. Yes, thank you, Jordan. Dana Holgerson coached the game. He had opted out of that game. That dude was already Houston's coach. Like, it wasn't announced yet, but Dana Holgerson did not give a fly at a rip that he was at that bowl game that year. It was some wild stuff. But I do wonder, like, what would have to happen for McCord to play in a bowl game? Let's say they win and get 9 wins and are in like a really good bowl game. I do wonder if McCord is more likely to play in like a top-level non-playoff bowl game because he gets to show his wares against a good other team. I wonder. I have no idea. Maybe we can ask him on the show this week. We'll see. All right, let's get back to the phones here. Still time for calls here for the next 5-10 minutes. We'll see how long the phone lines keep lighting up. 315-437-7644 or DWITom.com hotline. Let's head out to the West Coast. This is as close as we're going to get to where the football game was today, but Joe in Portland wants to talk some hoops. Hey, Joe, what's going on?
Hey, Brian. How you doing, man?
Very good, very good.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the basketball team just in, like, the overtime periods, right? Like, I think with them it's interesting because it's, like, it showed kind of signs of life, you know? I feel like for the first time this season, you know, where I was, like, actually out of my seat. I'm like, okay, what they were doing in overtime seemed like something that if they could just repeat some of those segments and just do it for a whole game, that to me is a tournament level team, right? Like what I saw, like, you know, not like the past couple of years, you know, it's like went back and forth, but no, I feel like, you know, with JJ being aggressive, then it opens up things for Eddie, and you saw in the second overtime, he went off a little bit. And then, of course, you know, Chapa Moore came in, which I think he's confident, man. He's going to be a really good player.
Yeah.
Either, not just this year, but I think even next year, too. He's definitely worth the hype. But I think one thing that people didn't really talk about much was the fact that Syracuse got 50 rebounds in this game, which I don't think has happened in at least the past couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, 45 last game was noteworthy, so 50, I get there was 10 extra minutes, but yeah, it was a lot of rebounds.
Yeah, and I know that's something that a lot of Cuse fans have been wanting the past couple of years. I mean, you know, I know they've had some trouble at center the past few years, but no, I think Eddie's, even though he's kind of slow of foot, you can tell he cares. He wants to make an effort, you know, but it's like when you're at that weight, it's kind of hard to, you know, keep up with guys who are, you know, centers who are 6'8", 6'9", you know, so I wonder if he'll probably play better, ironically, against Texas, where they have like these like big centers that are also just kind of like the same speed as him.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be more of the skilled type to kind of outskill players at his position, so he'll be fun to watch. But honestly, I think just the key with this game was like just capture lightning in a bottle, right? Like they played with urgency in the overtime, and you could tell like on defense they're picking up. Jaquan Carlos got 3 steals this game. He also got a block. One thing people forgot about, but I know he did that in, you know, the last part of the game, and obviously it's just one little segment. But again, that's just one of those things where I think now he was playing with some intensity, and you could see it in his reactions. So I wonder if he'll repeat that against some of the bigger teams. And then Chris Bell is interesting because he didn't really do much, but, you know, at the same time, I guess you're going to have an off night every now and then. So it's a good thing Donnie Freeman stepped up and did what he did. But, yeah, I think I feel like their true colors will show when they play Texas, because everyone's been saying, you know, it's like, oh, we got to wait to see what they can do against these bigger teams. And it's like that's the time to, you know, what separates the men from the boys, right? I think that's what's going to put people on notice, win or lose, is, okay, this is what the team's going to be once they get to Brooklyn. But I don't know. That's just all I had. So.
All right, Joe. Yeah, I'd say that because, you know, the Texas game, again, Texas are they UConn? No, but they're like a fringe top 25 team. They're a good team. They're not a great team. And yeah, like if, I don't know, is it the Syracuse team we saw in like the overtime? Is it a team that struggles with these teams? I have no idea what we're going to get here. Like
nobody knows.
Like
yeah.
It's possible it's a talent deficit and they get smacked around. It's possible that they're now used to playing in close games and maybe they go out and play well. And I think we're going to learn a lot, right? Because the Texas game and then the next day, either Texas Tech or St. Joe's are decent opponents. People may poo-poo St. Joe's, but they just blasted Villanova the other day, so they're a decent team as well. So you're getting two good games down there next week.
Yeah, for sure. That's one thing interesting. I remember Villanova, like people were saying they were a top 25 team. It's like they already have 2 losses now. It's tough for them. But anyway, yeah, that's what I want to say about basketball. So.
All right, Joe, thanks for the call. Good to chat as always. There's Joe calling in from the West Coast out from Portland. The Jaquan Carlos thing, he did have that nice steal in overtime. He does end up with 3 steals in the game. What's Carlos's final numbers? He 4 points. He fouled out 30 minutes, 3 steals, had a block. 1 of 6. Really tough day for Chris Bell today. Weird day. I mean, he was 3 for 13, 1 of 8 from 3. So not a lot from Chris today. But we saw JJ step up. We saw Donnie step up after halftime. We saw the fancy passing Eddie Lampkin throughout the game today for sure. All right, let's keep it moving on. The phones here on DWITom.com hotline and bring in Pat in the queue. Say, Pat.
So I listened to Coach's press conference. First point of contention with that is he said he watched some of Youngstown State versus guys. He says guys, and they gave him a game for a half. I mean, is this really the standard and the level that we want to be talking about post game? That a bottom 150 team dominates us for 40 minutes in the dome, and we're grasping it. I mean, Ohio State beat them by 30.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan was saying, well, at least we won. Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to lose, but some people would say maybe they need to lose a game to wake up. I'm not sure what it is, but am I the only one that thinks that maybe zone with this team could be the answer? Because their man-to-man defense is atrocious. I mean, it is so bad. I mean, I think this team is worse defensively than the Jimmy and Buddy team, and that was a bad defensive team. Bad. This is bad. I mean, they had 2 guys on that team that would even make an ACC roster. 2 guys on that entire team from top to bottom that even have any chance of being a 7th or 8th man on any team in the ACC, and they ran us. I sat 5 rows behind the visiting team, and I can tell you the entire game, the coaches, the players, everybody was engaged, their fans, and then you look at our side, all game, and then the only time that changed is when it went, right near the climax. Right near the end of regulation, overtime, and the second overtime. That's the way you need to play. And if it takes us this long to figure it out, it's concerning beyond all belief. Now, last game, you know what? A lot of people were, saying this team stinks and this and that. And you know what? Each game, it just becomes more obvious. But let me ask you, Brian, you listen to Coach's post game. Does he seem concerned?
I'll say this. Like, we didn't play it on this part of the show. I don't know if you caught. I caught it on the way in because they played it at halftime of the football game. His post game immediately after where Paulie goes back to the locker room and gets it. So that is literally within minutes from the end of the game. He was pissed. Like, he was happy they won, but like in the second after the game, he was pissed off at, like, he was basically like, I didn't do well enough. The team didn't do well enough. We cannot play like this and win and win real games. This essentially was the gist of what he said. Now, the actual press conference, now you're 15, 20 minutes later, you got a chance to, calm down, take a breath. He probably evaluated the fact that he came in just yelling at people last game. So, yeah, I think he is concerned. I think that was just, being a little more composed 20 minutes after the game. He knows that's not good enough. And I think to your point, Pat, the question we're going to see, right, is was the second half and overtime today, was that a sign of them realizing that that's what they need to do? Or is the first 2.5 games more realistic to the team? Because if they come out fired up like they were coming back in the game, okay, now you can play a little bit. If not, yeah, you're right, because man, it was just death on that sideline. It felt like in the first half tonight.
I mean, I just think it's weird that there's about 25% of college basketball that at least throws some zone out there. And Coach has been around the program long enough to know. I'm not the biggest zone guy, okay? But with this team, think about, who knows what's going to happen with Chance. But with certain guys, Carlos is not would not be a zone guy, and other than him, mean, JJ's a zone guy. Lampkin's a zone guy. Freeman is a zone guy. Bell is a zone guy. Because when they're playing man-to-man defense, their lack of strength is what hurts them. And it's so evident when you're sitting that close and you're just watching guys who should not be taking them to the hole. They're either going to blow by them or they're just strong enough to just finish through them. So I think this team should play zone. I don't care what anybody says. Their man-to-man is so bad, I could not imagine the zone not being better. Because think about the length. I'll leave you with this.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the Buzz Williams analogy when Syracuse, I think they held them to 40 points. He said they don't have to be good at defense because they're always covering the whole court because they're so long.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that again. I mean, we got enough length. We're just so bad defensively that the fact that I'm talking about zone just shows you that to me we're in trouble, and it's concerning. It's very concerning because we do have talent, and I did not like coaches was, to me, he sounded content, and he was justifying that Youngstown State is a good team. They're garbage, and his take was garbage. Thanks.
All right, Pat. I'd say that was more of a Red composing himself 20 minutes after the game than truth serum, because if you go back and hear what he told Paulie, that was on the Syracuse Sports Network broadcast today, like right after the game, he was happy, relieved. I don't know that they won, but he was pissed. Like, he did not think the team played well today. You know, he puts it on himself. He said he didn't think he coached well today. It was all that stuff, and you could hear an edge in his voice right after the game. So I would not read his post-game press conference the same way. I think that's just a 20 minutes later trying to shut it up here a little bit. And yeah, Youngstown State's not a good team. Would they be better in zone? I look back at last year, because Red put in, they started playing more zone at least a little as the year went along, because that was not a good defensive team last year either. I think, man, this year's team, as far as being prepared to do it, last year, you at least still had a bunch of guys that had practiced it. The guys aren't left. So if you're going to start to do it and you haven't really been practicing a lot, that's a lot of practice time install and all that stuff. So I don't know. To the point that the roster, are they long and all that? Do zones work anymore? I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to, is your center on defense going to guard anybody in a man or a zone with Lampkin? I mean, the answer might be no either way. Obviously, there are some flaws to the roster with that. You look at what you got out of the portal, it's possible to say that one and a half of the guys aren't bringing a lot right now when you look at the half of the court where Lampkin's not really providing. So, yeah, where does it go? What does it mean? I don't know. And I think that's where this Texas game, because up until this, at halftime today, we all have the same thought. Syracuse is getting cracked by 30 by Texas, right? Now at least you show a little something in the second half. Does attacking JJ, does Donnie Freeman, does Eddie Lampkin, does that matter? I don't know anything about Texas other than that they're all right. I don't know. I think this Texas game is going to point a lot of directions. Okay, did we see something in the second half today, or is that just finally them waking up and being all right, let's not lose to freaking Youngstown State? So I think that's going to tell us a lot as far as the possibility of the season, because Texas is probably talent equivalent to a decent chunk of the ACC this year, right? Are they Duke or Carolina? No, but they'd probably be a really solid mid-pack ACC team like many of the Orange opponents coming up this year. I don't know. Obviously, we've seen the first 2.5 games this year. You're it's not going to go well against probably anybody down at Barclays. JJ attacking, we finally at least saw an identity of the team in the second half today for the first time this year. Whether you like it or not, we finally saw an identity, and we hadn't seen one up to that point. On the other side of things with football, Fran Brown, we've seen the identity of the Syracuse football team all season long. Fran Brown tells you what the team is, and then they show you what the team is, and they have put that identity out there all year long. So it's very different, in the teams shown that. If basketball's identity is what they showed in the second half, I think that's at least a jumping off point. Are they good enough for the tournament? I don't know, but that's at least a jumping off point to be a team this year. All right. I think that's, we've been hanging out here. How long have we been hanging out? We've been hanging out more than an hour. We've hung. We've done the thing. Oh, yeah. Well more than an hour. Good hang tonight, people. All right, thanks for being in the chat here on Q Sports Talk. Thanks for being. Yeah, I don't want to talk about Tennessee's legit good. T. Murphy, that game's probably not going to go well regardless. But thanks for hanging out in the chat on YouTube today on Q Sports Talk. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. Women's basketball tomorrow. Tim Leonard on the call for that. They're playing somebody at a time. 2:00. Yeah, something like that. Women's basketball. Check it out tomorrow. Monday, what do we got Monday? Normal schedule on Monday. Orange Nation at noon. Fran Brown weekly press conference within at 1. Newhouse afternoon at 2. Cody at 3. I'll be with you at 4. We'll get Adam Terry's thoughts during my show at 4 as well. That is your Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Bills, Chiefs tomorrow. Yeah, the Giants won't lose tomorrow. It's a beautiful Sunday already. All right, enjoy your night, everybody. We'll talk again coming up on Monday.